Hey everybody, Mike Pernay with ETHOSystems here. Really want to thank you all for registering and attending for today's webinar that is going to be hosted by our new partners, our new colleagues, the NetEffect. So the NetEffect, what they're going to do is they help companies realize the importance of standard operating procedures for effective work, as well as optimizing the utilization of Sage tools and how to structure them for your business, and how to address resistance to change within your team. So today, Tim will be the one that is taking you through NetEffect and everything that they offer. And Tim is the CEO of the NetEffect. I think that what they offer is a very cool product, very cool offering, especially for the construction industry. This isn't something that we typically see made available to people. So Tim, I'll go ahead and I'll let you just take it away.
Great. Hey, thanks very much, Mike. Pleasure being here. And just want to say really enjoy the partnership we have with you guys at Ethos, and Mike, you particularly. It's really great to be able to connect with you guys and understand what it is you do, how you operate, and really the explanation and the service that you guys give with your Sage products is really fantastic. We've been working with several of you guys on your team to help our clients and find the right products, and it's really great. So where do I start here? Benefits. On the screen I've got benefits observed since introducing new technologies, and this is one of the first things that we talk to our clients about. We've had a lot of clients in the past who were new to technology, trying to find the right technology. Some had some good technology, good softwares, but not always the right fit for them. Our job has always been to find the right software that matches your company description, matches how you do business, the size of your company, and works best for a construction company. We find a lot of companies are siloed. They have different software tech stack that doesn't talk to each other. We work hard at trying to solve that problem, trying to automate the systems. Here you can see some of the benefits in this slide are, reduced costs, increased profitability, increased quality of goods or services produced, and increased productivity, and a better customer experience. That all comes with being organized. We all know that. Having a disparate tech stack, not having clear standard operating procedures is one thing that makes a company really not organized. One of the things that we help a contractor do is clearly define what your standard operating procedures are, so that everybody is on the same page and data flows through the system from front to back. To do that, you need to have a really clear roadmap. And what does that roadmap look like? Well, let's see if I've got another slide. So here's a digital adoption roadmap. This is kind of like a standard template. You're looking at creating a timeline of what to adopt, when to adopt, how to train people, when to onboard, all of these things. It's important to have a clear process. And an analogy I like to use is, let's say you're planning to build a dream home, and you haven't got a set of drawings. Or you haven't got engineering, you haven't got a budget, you haven't contracted, you don't have any contractors lined up, or inspections, or even a clear project plan. How could you as a contractor even consider going forward, right? And that's if you're a contractor. So imagine someone has little or no experience buying like a plot of land, and they buy a plot of land and they said, watch some YouTube videos, and they can, okay, I'm going to build a house. Well, it's a similar scenario, trying to structure your tech stack, trying to structure your software. Software is it can be simple for those who, let's say, I think accountants have a good time because they've been using accounting software for a long time. But rolling that down into operations and getting operations crews and guys on the ground utilizing software is not a simple process. and structuring that software so that it benefits the entire team across the board. It's not a straightforward process. So we take our I'm going through, here we go, tech stack alignment. We take our clients through a bit of a process to understand what they do, understand how they operate, want to understand all the details of what level of digital experience your team has, because that has a lot to do with how much they're going to manage. Looking at how strong a finance team you have. If you have a really strong finance team, you can have a lot more functionality and reporting from the finance side. We often find that contractors don't have a big finance team. They'll have a bookkeeper or two people, making sure the numbers are good, but their staff may not, on the operations side, don't have a really strong understanding of the finance side. So we like to put tools in the hands of the people on the ground, the project managers, even operators, but supervisors, foremen, and operations directors, so that they have tools that they can utilize that works well with finance. So when we look at tech stack alignment, we look at data mapping here, you can see how different ways. This is just one example of a tech stack that a company might take. And here, this is like very similar to something that you would stack up an SCM, which is Sage Construction Management, as the core for operations. And then whether it's another accounting software on the other side, accounting and finance, is whether it's a Sage 50, 100, or Intact. And having a good balance that works best for your company. Now, let me see if I can do this quickly without, and find the right, I'm gonna minimize this. I've got a really great diagram of the different types of tech stack that we see often in construction, because there's all levels of business. Let me just, can we see that? Mike, can you hear me? I can't see me, so
Yeah.
I see what you're, you've got a Miro board here. So it's business, great. Business system environment modeling. This is where when we look at the different businesses that we've worked with, we've worked with small businesses where, you've got a whiteboard, you've got Excel, you've got Word, and you have Sage 50. And then somebody might graduate and they're getting off of whiteboards, and they picked up, an LEM, a time and materials tracking, so labor, equipment, materials tracking software. So that's their first foray. So there's a smaller operator. And then you go down into, you got a disparate tech stack. So you got a company that's really looking at new ways to operate, and they've adopted a bunch of different softwares and they're getting it all together, but none of the software talks because they haven't got an API or they haven't got a way to transfer data. So now they start to figure that out, and you've got a company like, probably now you're looking at a larger company of like maybe 5 to 10 million, because they've got some more people in the office, more PMs, etc. And so you've got a stakeholder, a CRM, you've got some estimating that's maybe done with Excel, a bid management tool, and that's maybe in ClickUp or Monday.com, where they're using a Kanban board. They got a human resources software like Humi or something like that. So they've got all this different software, and some of it connects and it works okay, and then but they're kind of all over the place. And then you've got an accounting and finance software, and so that's another common kind of structure that we see. We like to, and then here's a great one. You're utilizing Excel in a big way, and you've got a few tools, a few specific softwares that are for safety or LEM or project management. So you can see how different companies operate in different ways. Where we try and get our clients is to something that is more cohesive, where you're utilizing a good construction management software using great accounting software that works well for your business. And then you might have some other softwares on the side, because let's be honest, not every software has every functionality that every company needs. You're going to get 90% of what you need from a good construction management software, but you might need a different estimating or bid management or HR or something like that. So what's important is we try and create cohesion, good API connections, good communication between the softwares and between the accounting and finance software. And then, of course, there are larger companies that will have an ERP, and they'll have all-in-one that does all their accounting and finance, estimating, stakeholder management all together. They've maybe gone to a much bigger bespoke type software. So our job is to figure out how to best structure tech stack for your company. And like I said, we've had a lot of companies that we've worked with that have a myriad of different ways they work, and none of them are exactly like any of these models, but we take you through a process to we build your model so we can understand exactly how you operate and what's going to be best for your company.
We work from the premise that the first thing that we need to understand is your people. If we don't understand your people and what their jobs are all about, what their functions are all about, what their technical savvy is like, it's really hard for us to be able to come in and say, okay, here's the exact thing that you want to do. You could take two companies that are the exact same size, performing the exact same type of work, two electrical contractors, let's say, and their workflow and their processes and their people are going to be very different. So the first thing that we need to understand is people. Then we will take a very close look at the processes, like what is it that, how do you order materials? How do you quote? How do you create quotations or estimates? How do you go through the entire from pre-construction to capping off the building? What happens every step of the way? And that gives us a very clear vision of what your functionalities and your processes are, in order for us to then sit down, say, now that we know your people and we know your processes, here's the products or the software technologies or whatever that we're going to suggest that are going to make sense for you.
Yeah, and that speaks to those standard operating procedures. Every company has different ways they work, and you might have some standard operating procedures that are known throughout the company at this point, but once you create a better tech stack environment that's more cohesive, you need to remap those out. And you can see that I'm a very visual learner, and we like to use visual tools like this. This is this Miro board to create those clear, defined standard operating procedures roadmaps so that people can see it and they go, okay, once the estimate's done, here's the next. If this, then we do that. Or if the client wants this, then that's how we operate next. And we pass that on. It goes from estimating into project management. And this is how project management operates. And these are when they report to finance and so on and so forth. So creating those clear standard operating procedures that everybody understands, that work best so that nothing gets missed. Another important tool that we help our clients with. Some of the questions you asked before, does T&E only focus on financial processes, or do we look at other areas of the business? Well, exactly that. We look at all areas of the business and take a holistic approach to ensure that we're not just working with the finance team, because the finance team have their goals and their needs, but the operations team on the ground, they don't operate in a digital world. They operate in a very manual world, and we need to put tools in their hands that work for them. So that also leads to where you mentioned, Mike, about how we help our clients work with SCM, Sage Construction Management, and other Sage tools. What's great is that the improvements that have been made to Sage Construction Management over the last 6 months, leaps and bounds. The development of that product, it's almost going to be it's game changing. Honestly, we've recommended it to many of our clients. We've looked at it in detail with a few. We've adopted it with a couple of our clients. And what's great about it is that it does have a complete suite of operational software, tools that you put in the hands of project managers, estimators, the foremen, site supervisors. It creates an environment where they have scheduling tools, reporting tools back up to finance, and that there's clear connections between the say SCM, I'll call it SCM, Sage Construction Management, so everybody knows, and the Sage products, or other. If your company is already using other products, it'll work with them as well. The SCM is it is a great tool in that it's not on your server. It is a cloud product. We almost always move our clients to cloud product. It works on a web platform. You don't have to worry about the infrastructure in your office. It's on everybody's iPhone, it's on everybody's tablet, it's on everybody's laptop, and everybody's working from the same thing all at the same time if you're not already there. It is adaptable to subcontractors, which is key. I think that often subcontractors will adopt software that's best utilized by general contractors, and it doesn't have the functionality and is able to manage projects in detail the same way that SCM does. But if you are a general contractor, whether you're residential or you're commercial, SCM has the capability to manage bids, and handle change orders, anything you need at that level, and manage your Gantt charting. It's a great product, and the fact that it is developed or being developed by Sage, and it works so well with all of the Sage product, is a game-changing combination. So we often will recommend to our clients that they look at that as one of the better options. Some of the other questions we have here, Mike, resistance to change. That's something that I did a webinar not too long ago on. If you get in touch with us, we can point you to that webinar. But change management and resistance to change is important, particularly in larger companies. I dealt with it firsthand when I was in construction, because I come from civil construction and from paving stone installation business for years, and adopting a new, very simple LEM, labor, equipment, materials tracking for all the staff, how you roll that out, the plan to roll that out, who you teach first, how you address those that are not interested in adopting new software or utilizing new software. You have to assume that you're going to get people that are not going to be interested, and it's for fear of change. They like the way they do things, whether it's, I'm just going to text you my hours, or I'm going to text you anytime I want to order something, or what have you. You have to have a plan to roll out to your staff, how to manage them, whether it's you find those key people, influencers within the company, whether maybe it's a laborer, a young guy who's on a shovel, who picks it up right away and there's no resistance, he's excited to use it. Well, he's on a crew with a couple of older guys who aren't super stoked on using their cell phone, it's their data plan, blah, blah, blah. But they're really just afraid because they don't want to ask somebody up. So you've got somebody, a laborer, a young guy, who's going to teach them. So that's one strategy on how you can manage resistance to change. Like I said, I have firsthand experience with that. having adopted software in a civil excavation company, and you can imagine truck drivers, laborers, equipment operators working in the dirt, in the rain. Oh, I can't do that. My phone's going to get wet. Well, we have good, I'll buy you an OtterBox, or here's a Ziploc bag that you can put your phone in for the really bad days. There's all sorts of ways to manage change, but what is important is that you have a plan. And then change.
The other component of an effective change management plan is also engaging everybody in your organization right from the very beginning. If you have determined that you're about to undertake a digital transformation or implement a particular application, be it Sage Construction Management or Intact or whatever the case might be, think about all of the people in your organization who are going to be impacted. Get them before you even go out and purchase the application. Call a group meeting, call it a tailbox talk or a toolbox talk. Bring them around, introduce them to the idea of the digital transformation, and get them to tell you what their thoughts and ideas are in terms of how this is going to, number one, affect their job, number two, create opportunities for them to improve the way in which they do things, and number three, how it's going to improve their life. A lot of the technologies that we are introducing to our clients, all of which are construction-based applications or construction-focused applications, are designed to make things more efficient and improve the way in which a particular function is going to be performed. So most employees have a very good idea of where that's going to have, where it's going to create opportunities for improvement. If you listen to them and you incorporate their ideas into your digital implementation or digital transformation plan, and they're saying, hey, they're really doing that because I suggested it, or it's going to make my life better, or whatever whatever form of engagement and appreciation they feel, they're going to want to do it as opposed to stop it from being done. So that's a really key factor, is getting your people all around to share their ideas and their concerns.
And I've managed scenarios like that for an excavation company, where the shop, for instance, was they were kind of, they're operating on their own program and not fully engaged with it. It wasn't working well, and it was because it was basically they were given a tool. The management said, we're going to utilize this tool now. We want you to do all your reporting in here, and all the equipment that comes in. We want to just start using it. No consultation with the guys from the shop whatsoever. So we ended up working with them, said, what is the functionality you need? Okay, well, we've been utilizing this software and we do like the way it does this, but the functionality of this particular software is difficult to manage. But we would like it so that we know all the equipment that's in the shop, what's going to come in next, when this other equipment comes in for service, and then we can assign specific people to different pieces of equipment, and they know what they're going to be doing next week, and we know which equipment's going to come in, and then we have guys ready. Anyway, so once we engaged them, found out what functionality they needed, they were happy to use the new software that was enrolled, and because they had input into finding the right software that had the right tools for them. So like you said, Craig, on the front end, ahead of time, it's important that you engage the key stakeholders, is the term we like to use. So that's the right people within the organization at every level. You don't want to start, if you have have another contractor where they have a finance team. They work in an office. They rarely go out into the field. And they, again, wanted to utilize a time tracking piece of software, but didn't talk to the guys in the field. You can't do that. You have to go out into the field. You have to understand what they want, what they need, what they can do. You have to limit what they see. You can't give them all the information on the app and in the software. Just give them what they need on that job. But you have to engage them ahead of time.
And you have to get them to think that what you are about to get them engaged with is a benefit, not a new task. We all have more than enough tasks on our to-do list every day. If you add another thing and they don't see the benefit of it, they're not going to embrace it as quickly as they could be. The best example of what Tim's talking about is getting people to enter their time in a time tracking tool. Well, there's lots of benefits for it, but many companies, I don't want to say most, but many companies just say, you're going to use this from now on. And most people will say, I've been doing my time, I just fill it out on a bar napkin and give it to the foreman while we're having beers on Friday afternoon. Isn't that good enough? No, because the benefit is going to be, number one, you're entering your time. It's going to be more accurate. It's going straight into the payroll system instead of it winding up in the foreman's pocket as a bar napkin. And then his wife washes that shirt and you got to start all over again. And you're not going to get paid on Thursday as a result. Now I see the benefit. The other thing that Tim's talked about for a moment there was engaging stakeholders. So when you're taking a look at utilizing or getting a new system in place, don't only think about employees as stakeholders that you should be talking to. Talk to your suppliers, talk to your subcontractors, talk to whoever it is that's outside of your organization, particularly if you are doing digital communications with them. And by digital communications, you've got a subcontractor and you got a group of subcontractors and you're sending out RFIs by email. I mean, nobody's actually sending them out on a piece of paper anymore. We used to, but now we've advanced and we're sending them out by email. Talk to your subcontractors to see if they'd like to get their RFIs through a web portal. And it's always going to be there. And then they can submit their quotations back to you through a web portal. And you'll probably find out that they say, hey, yeah, you know what, we're doing that on the other side of town with another contractor, and it works great. And we'd love to do something like that. And if we don't ask all of our stakeholders, we're not going to come up with as solid of an implementation plan as it could be.
Yeah, so that change management plan is key to adopting software right across the board. So there's more than just resistance to change. There's that road mapping, like I said. So you get to create that roadmap from the front end to the back end. What are the steps that are going to have to be taken to adopt the new software, or just a change in software, or changing the way you're utilizing software? Because quite often we find that it's not necessarily that businesses don't have the right software. They may not be fully utilizing it. We all know that Excel, for instance, is a great tool, but most people barely even scratch the surface of how to utilize it. Construction software isn't a lot different. It is in that often contractors won't utilize it fully. So understanding how to manage the change of fully implementing the software and create a digital transformation is very important. So that roadmap of what to adopt, when to adopt it, how to implement it, creating the standard operating procedures and the roadmap for the change is very important. So that That is truly what a digital transformation is fully immersing the entire company and utilizing software to its full benefit in ways that automate and the processes. There's clear communications and things don't get dropped, and creating an environment where the company across the board has a system that works well so that they're running on all cylinders. It's kind of like we were watching in the Olympics recently, the 4x100 relay. You can have the 4 fastest guys in the world, but if the handoff of that baton doesn't go really smoothly and they drop the baton, they lose the race. Our Canadian team, 4 really fast guys, but they had excellent passing. The baton moves smoothly from one to the next, and we win the race. That's the difference between digital transformation and just adopting software. So ensuring that you have good handoff of information right from the beginning when a client first gets in touch with you to somebody is working with them in a timely, contacts them in a timely fashion, gets back to them, puts them get them into the system, gets their estimate sent out to them quickly, signs the contract. The estimate automatically once we get the signed contract back, somebody just drags an icon in a Kanban board, and it creates a project, and the project operations director is notified, and then the finance team is also notified to send out an invoice, and all of the information is pre-populated, so there's no data entry the second time, third time, fourth time. That's a good handoff. That's a great pass. That's the first pass. Craig.
Yeah, one of the important things, Mike and the team at Ethos has asked us to really talk about how the right tech stack can stack more cash in your construction business. And today, what that means is adopting artificial intelligence or AI. It comes in many forms. We all talk about it as being AI. It also comes in the form of what's known as machine learning. And when one puts together a proper tech stack in the current environment in construction, it needs to utilize AI and machine learning if your company is going to be advancing into the future. Those companies that don't start to adopt AI or machine learning are going to find that they're going to start to fall further and further behind. Whether it be coming in the form of not being able to automate your business processes or not engage with other contractors or subcontractors that are working on the same project to the same degree, or whether it come in the fact that without utilizing AI or machine learning, it takes you longer to get your estimates out on the bids that you're quoting on. All of those things are going to start to impact your cash flow negatively if you're not engaging in AI in the future. Mm-hmm. We recently spent a lot of time with the AI team at Sage, understanding what their developments are in terms of, well, existing utilization of AI in the system, which is very high, and what their future vision is for the use of AI going forward. And you're going to find that their products are pretty advanced when it comes to that. All of these things being said, if you're not advancing your technology at a base level and then at a more sophisticated level, you are losing out on profitability opportunities due to a lack of efficiency. So that's going to be a very, very key piece going forward. I often talk about AI in my capacity as the chairman of the Technology Advisory Group for the Canadian Construction Association. And what I like to tell contractors is that the AI horse has left the barn and you are already in the saddle. And you can either learn how to ride it or you can fall off. If you learn how to ride it, higher profitability, better cash flow, greater efficiency, running projects on time and on budget is in your future. If you don't get on the horse and learn how to ride it, your future is not going to be nearly as bright. So that's a key piece of information that everybody should walk away with today, and understand that you don't have to go out and rush out to the AI store this afternoon and buy the latest and greatest, but you need to start to plan for the implementation of artificial intelligence in your organization.
And that's a key point. And what I would say in advance of that is that digital transformation. Adopting digital tools is one thing. And like I showed you, there's all sorts of different models of how to adopt, how companies have adopted digital tools, what different types of software, and how they're improperly utilizing it and underutilizing it. So back to that same message that I said before, Craig's reinforced that idea that AI is another tool that everybody needs to understand and fully utilize, and softwares that have AI embedded, like the Sage is looking at and has started to do, that's going to help your company immensely. But don't wait for the AI. Take the first step and get your tech stack sorted so that it works for your company correctly. Looking at the modeling, looking at ensuring that there's connections and good APIs, there's good data transfer, and that everybody's utilizing it the right way for their specific job role, have the right permissions set up, automations in place so that email gets forwarded. One automation tool that we've seen work really well is just a simple, when your time tracking is automated to the point where you have a form you need to fill out before you can finish your entry of your entry of your labor, of where you've clocked in for the day. So you got to clock in the morning, and you've got to do that, like Craig was saying, that FLHA, and that's your field level hazard assessment, right? Or toolbox talk, or whatever it is, or the sign off. But then when you get into a safety scenario, were there any accidents today? If you hit yes, okay, well then it takes you through a process. Okay, well then you have to fill out this form, and then that form gets automatically sent to the site supervisor, back to the office, etc. So it takes you through that proper workflow so that your staff in the field and people in the field don't have to go looking and figuring out where that, what the standard operating procedure is. It's laid out for them. You create those automations, and SCM can do that for you. You can create different automations and workflows so that all of the right workflows or the standard operating procedures are being followed at a smaller level in the field. But I think that across the board.
Sorry. Mm-hmm. One of the things that is intimidating for most contractors is just going through the process of selecting an application. And that's actually one of the ways in which we can be a great benefit to contractors. I would say between Tim and I and other people in our organization, I think individually Tim and I have probably looked at in excess of 300 to 400 construction technology applications. And when I say looked at them, I'm not talking about we saw them on Google. I'm talking about the fact that we went through very, very detailed technical demonstrations. In many cases, we've had that software vendor or technology vendor provide us with a demonstration account where we can lift the hood and start to utilize it ourselves. We have a very, very thorough understanding, and we have the backgrounds technical backgrounds to be able to assess them properly. And so we have very good idea of what applications work in the various situations that we've talked about. And I should also say that I'm not about to say this because we get paid by Sage or anything like that. We don't. We are actually partners with most of the major applications that are out there. But what we are seeing right now with Sage ERP or the accounting systems and Sage construction management is that they are combining to become a very, very cost-effective and highly functional grouping or combination of applications that will really run any kind of construction company or subcontractor company very, very effectively. And if you go back to those diagrams that Tim showed earlier, fairly quickly you can get to the point that you're in a very digitally mature structure through the utilization of Sage accounting and CRM. On the accounting side, it doesn't mean you have to go to the top of the heap. One of the things that we see very regularly is that those companies that are still working with 100 or 300, not so much 50, but 100 or 300, are in good shape for building their digital transformation plan. So you don't have to go with the biggest and the best. What you need to go is right size, not big size. So with our expertise and all of the evaluations that we've done, that's one of the first things that companies come to us for. It cuts out all of the ambiguity of the buying process for the contractor who doesn't really understand the technology side of the world.
And then I have another analogy I like to use, and that is the position that both Ethos and the NetEffects are in is we're here to do a holistic approach. We're here to help you to adopt software and find the right software. But imagine you go to buy a car. Typically, you go to the dealership and they're going to show you all the features of the car. They're going to show you how you can utilize the new driver functionality that sets the seat when you sit down and connects to your phone and has the Apple CarPlay. And they show you all the bells and the whistles. They show you the turn signals, how to roll up do the child locks on the back, how to service the vehicle, all those things. But it's similar to a software company. When you get a software, you purchase a software from them, they're going to do the exact same thing. They're going to, in the parking lot, they're going to show you all the bells and whistles and how it functions. They're not going to teach you how to drive. They're not going to teach you the rules of the road. They're not going to teach you how to map your way home if you don't, assuming you've never even driven. They're not going to, because a lot of the time that's what you have with software. You're basically you're buying a car, you don't have a driver's license, you've never seen somebody drive a car, or you saw it on TV once. That's kind of where software is at. You might have somebody, I've got somebody in the other department, they drove a car once, they're going to show us how to drive this car. That's no way to teach a company how to drive a car. So similarly, the analogy with software, we come in, we're going to show you, we're going to teach you the rules of the road. We're going to map out how to get from A to B, where you got to go. We're going to teach you how to drive the car, mirror signal, shoulder check, all those things. We look at the complete from start to finish of your digital adoption and create a digital transformation for you. So that my analogy on car buying didn't come out as fluidly as I would have liked, like I've told it before, but that's not unusual. But a digital transformation, again, is really what we're here for. That's what Ethos is here for, is to ensure that your company fully understands how to best utilize the software. And look at Mike's jumped in. And he can feel that was like getting to the end of our presentation anyway.
Well, no, I'm just, yeah, because given we're going to do 45 minutes, I thought I'd jump back in. I really appreciate, Tim and Craig, really appreciate you doing this webinar for, with us and for our client base. Also, inside of the chat, I've just put in the link to the contact information for the NetEffect. It'll take you directly to their contact website, the page in their website, where you can fill out your information to then get more information from them if it's something you're interested in. Is that the best way, Tim and Craig, just to go through that link and go through the contact or your website?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and I've got a slide here I can show with our info. Yeah.
Okay, great.
One sec. Not very good at this part of the presentation, but here we go. Hold on. Show. That coming up for you? We got a QR code and a couple of addresses there.
It is.
Oh, mostly.
Perfect. So we can leave that up here for a little bit, but we will be taking this, we'll be compressing it and adding it to our YouTube channel as well. So, and again, if you want to, you can utilize the QR code, utilize those email addresses or the link that's in the chat. And again, Tim and Craig, really appreciate you doing this and looking forward to, doing more of this and working more together. Everybody have a great rest of your day.